Welcome back. We saw Hidden Carrier Tech take a win for Rain, his second in a row in the PBT matchup. He's now 2-0 in the standings, in first place currently, as no one's played 2 games but him.
Yeah, right now he does have the lead. And indeed, the Hidden Carriers are the deadliest wolf coming into our first game tonight. I didn't actually know totally what to expect. We were talking about how both of these players are maybe a little bit like slower macro players. That's kind of what mine tried to do. Didn't work out.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, he just didn't know what was going on in the StarCraft 2. You know, this happens. If you're a Terran player watching that game, especially if you're a Brood War Terran, you probably call it a cheese. What we saw, I would just refer to it as hidden tech that went unscouted. And this is just a factor of RTS where you don't have all the vision of everything that's happening. So you have to make an educated guess based on what you've seen. And when you play that greedy and you assume he's not going carriers and don't take that extra safety precaution and you just can't scout it when you move across the map like that, sometimes you get punished. He could have perhaps sent vultures around to try to figure out if there was a third base up and then try to figure out, okay, what is he doing on 2 bases? We should probably just sit back because we're on 3. But he moved across the map with limited information, got totally stomped, and Rain takes 2-0 in this tournament now as a result.
Yeah, our newest player, very, very good. But let's move on to our next series and introduce our players. This will be herO, and herO kind of speedrunning SSL up until this point. Took a 3-minute victory over effort. One of, if not the strongest Zerg player here, got bopped in game number 1, and or in the first game that they played last week. Now he's coming back again, but he won't have a ZVZ this time around. So we'll get to see if we can stress test a few of his other builds.
Yep, as I mentioned last week, herO has really come to notoriety in the very recent times. He is not very known in the high time of Brood War. Is not having as many notable results as almost everyone else in this tournament. Including his opponent here, who is one of the dragons that is free. Did take that loss against Suck in his previous matchup where he took a fast triple expand. Did make a ton of gateway units, was skipping on the Arbiter tech, did not have shuttles to break the Terran army when it came in, did not have the Arbiter tech either, and just straight up engaged against a Terran army that had several science vessels. We saw a lot of defense matrices go down, so perhaps just a little bit underprepared in terms of engaging in that PvT. The build was good, so good ideas coming out from Free. The execution, though, I feel a little bit weak, left something to be desired.
Yeah, and you'll see that out of a lot of players who are very, very smart intellectually, but when it comes to the mechanics, that's sometimes what it's all about. So let's go ahead and get into our second game of the night, guys. It's herO versus Free.
Welcome once again to Neo Medusa as we have the spawning Zerg down here in yellow. It is herO, of course.
Well, that's actually the Protoss player in yellow. And indeed it is. Well, the yellow is his opponent, and that is going to be Free. Now, Free has some challenges here ahead of him. Not only did he lose his ASL group earlier on last week, but also a little bit overly greedy in his games last week in SSL Challenge or Classic. And so coming in today, a lot to prove. He does have the legacy of being one of the 6 best Brood War Protoss players of all time, and will definitely have his work cut out for him here. Now, PvZ, this is where Free should be able to illustrate a lot of his strength, and Neo Medusa, a very Protoss favored map in general, so should be setting things in his favor.
Sure, this is a player who is similar to Bisu in terms of notoriety for his Protoss versus Zerg. Not as known as Bisu, especially because Bisu had more consistent results and also was the one who not only showed but perfected the Corsair openings against Zerg, the DT variation.
Well, also on Medusa, they actually used to call this map Take Dusa. Take is Bisu's name because he has like super epic games on this map. So if you are good at PvZ on this map, you're probably going to have a good time. But this is Free we're talking about, and sometimes he gets a little bit out of control when it comes to macroing up, gets a little bit too greedy, and then winds up getting rolled over. Now, you already saw the best unit in the game, the Protoss Probe, getting in there and basically almost killing another enemy worker. So annoying to deal with. We'll see how good Free's probe control is.
Well, we'll see if he can block this hatch. I think he's a bit too late on it, sadly. Oh, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, so drones actually have this weird thing when they go to make a hatchery, because sometimes they have to like do what dogs do when they want to sit down. They turn around in circles 3 times. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's like magnetic field lines.
That's actually the best way I've ever heard.
That's what they do. Look, they just like turn around in a circle.
That's the best way I've ever heard that described.
Well, sometimes they actually just like start spinning and they never build the hatchery, and you're like, well, I told it to build a hatchery and now my build's off.
Just keep spinning and spinning and spinning. Eventually turns into a Heroes of the Storm logo.
just keep spinning. That's the Zerg's motto there. But
sure.
Yeah, I think we actually have a little bit of, this is a new patch, so I didn't expect to see so many bugs in it, but we just have a whole race of bugs, so I guess that... okay, all right. Got that one out of the way. We're moving on.
All right, so look, it's going to be a Forge Fast Expand, which is a very common Protoss build, and as easy as it looks when you watch it in televised matches such as this one, it's much harder in practice because you actually have to know the map, know the walling location, know where to place your forge and your photon cannons, and then later on the rest of your wall to make sure you get the maximum value out of it. Otherwise, the Zerg will literally just be like, what is this? This guy's a noob, and just run through and kill you. So a practice player such as Free will do this opening on Medusa. It's not a tough map to wall on, and the Overlord will scout this. Ling comes over to confirm the 3rd base location has been taken, the backdoor base, despite, looks like he didn't actually check it, so he's going to go over here just to confirm one more time. Core going up back at home. This will likely be followed by the Corsair tech, and it's going to be a pretty textbook PVZ opening. And we had the pool first. The Lings come out, but they're denied by this wall off. You can see the gateway coming in here now. And a fast layer comes up as a result.
Yeah, so Medusa is really interesting from a Zerg point of view because while you do get a mineral only, a safe base for you to expand to behind your main, it's mineral only, and as a Zerg player, you want a ton of gas. When it comes to Zerg late game, you just cannot get enough gas almost. So that's not going to really help you there. So Zerg is forced to sort of be a little bit more nomadic, reach out across the map, and a lot of times what Zergs like to do is take the natural or the main of another base. But because Medusa, or Neo Medusa here, is a 3-player map, that's not as far away from your opponent as it would be on something bigger like a Fighting Spirit kind of Force player style.
Yep, this is all factual and accurate, as I do want to point out it is in fact that Stargate opening coming up right on cue. I don't know if herO actually saw it yet, but he saw no Dragoon range being researched or anything like that, so that's a pretty obvious tell. When you see the Hydrogen coming down here to help deal with that, and the probe continuing to scout in the main base, I think was actually finally killed. Oh, no, I spoke too soon once again. He did survive.
There it is. Look at that probe. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so he actually loses it there. I think he actually could have done some sneaky stuff, but either way, a Protoss probe dying, you already know things are going badly. I'm just kidding. It's actually pretty normal.
Well, it's stayed alive for quite some time.
Yeah, 5 minutes is where you kind of have to get to in order to, graduate to the next level. If you want to pass go and collect that 200, practice keeping it alive. I think there's some pretty cool, like, use map settings maps about controlling your probe away from Zerglings while you're building and macroing at the same time. Definitely something you need to practice. Free did get a lot of information off of that, so
yep.
he shouldn't go totally all in on these Corsairs like we saw last week.
Yeah, that's obviously something that could be a bit concerning, but just going to go for the first one here. The Hydras were actually sent to the 3rd base. Well, all the Overlords have been pulled away here, so that's where he wants, he wants to obviously localize his Overlords in one location where his Hydras have also spread out. Looking to catch the 2nd Corsair. Here comes a spawning Overlord, unfortunately, will be caught here. Nothing you could do about that.
Whoa, double hatcheries built right there.
This may just be a Hydra attack.
I think he actually might just go for trying to bust him out there. You usually do not see 2 hatcheries being built right then. So this is going to be 5 hatch Hydra coming out. And this is like when you see a big gateway explosion in the Protoss base. It basically means, all right, We've gotten the tech where we want it to. Now it's all going to be about producing as many units as possible. Those are most likely going to be upgraded Hydralisks.
Yep, definitely going to be the case here. Now, Lurkers do splash damage. They will kill all of these structures at once. The temples here, so there's 10 of them stacked on top of each other, but they will basically be one when the Lurkers hit. This is something that Free has already identified. This is very common on Neo Medusa, so he set up the wall here. So what he wanted to do potentially was bust through the back with a bunch of speed Hydras once he gets the Lurkers to knock this wall down. He's going to knock the wall down regardless. There's nothing that Free could do about that. But he obviously has a lot of time he can buy with this wall, even the photon cannon he's added here. So the temple will be knocked down. DTs are coming across the map to give some more map control, as the Corsairs have pushed the Overlords into the top base, the 12 o'clock expansion. So Zealot even coming out here, he just wants to make sure these Lurkers don't try to bully their way forward.
So I do want to reiterate that Corsair should be pushed back. We'll see how much damage the DTs do. I do want to reiterate, so these are 10 temples stacked on top of each other, but because the splash damage being done to it, all 10 of the temples take damage at the same time, so they get knocked down much more quickly. So otherwise, you would have to damage each one of the 10 temples to do a total of 15,000 damage to break through there. Splash damage gets you through much faster, and now we get a chance to see all of those hatcheries kick into aggressive unit production, see how much damage they can get done. Now, it's actually going to be a little bit more difficult to get a bunch of units up there thanks to those 2 minerals, but here we go, piling through, trying to take out these cannons.
Really nice second pylon here, because obviously the first one is going to go down super quickly, but look, the DTs actually kill a Lurker early on. There's no detection here with no Overlords nearby. This is getting shut down pretty hard in terms of how many units are already lost here for herO. And, yes, a few units do get through, but the rallying units here of Free should be able to deal with that. He's getting a cannon up in his main base to help deal with it. He's actually going to go for a counter drop.
Yeah, and
he needs that cannon in the mineral line, though.
Yeah, he will need to defend at home, but this could actually deal massive damage. He's going to drop off the Zealots there at the natural, run into the main, and this should be where the high tempo.
Oh, here we go!
Where's the storms? It's a drone genocide. Almost every single drone in the main going down.
But because he committed those resources, because he committed the High Templar into the shuttle, he's not going to have as many back at home to defend. Those are 2 storms he probably really wants right now to stop this Hydra push. He has 1 High Templar, I believe, back at home, but he doesn't have any more than that. He's got a DT over here. He's going to help slow this push down. He's got so many different ways to delay this.
Oh, but there's an Overlord there. He'll be able to scout it out. The DT will go down. This is a lot of Zerg, especially with that Lurker.
This High Templar is so important. Oh, gets a decent storm here.
Second storm not quite as good. The Hydra's microing backwards, and nice control here, but eventually these Zealots will get right on top of them.
He has the speed upgrade now. He has an Overlord coming with, an Observer coming with this to spot the Lurkers. The last Lurker taken out. He's going to lose control of this high ground, and now what Free is going to look to do is to get another storm off as these Hydras try to bust up this very small ramp. Going to continue to drop this too, by the way.
Yeah, he's going to go back in for more drone kills. It should be noted that there are very few workers for herO.
Oh my god, this is
another huge storm! It's on the exit path, and so 4 or 5 drones do go down again.
Okay, he needs to have these storms set up here. Just the 1 High Templar. The first storm here, not very successful. It needs to be kept alive. He cannot lose this.
Right, just needing as many storms as possible to try to hold this off. All of those pylons which were previously being used, the wall will get taken out, and that is going to open up a big route for herO to get in here.
Okay, here's another High Templar. Based on its rally, I imagine it does have a storm, so I believe he has 2 storms available right now. He's got so many Zealots to help buffer. The Hydra's actually retreating right now, and StarCraft is hard, so a few Lings will get left behind. But now Free's going to take a 3rd base. The drop aggression seems to have stopped for now, but in terms of tech, the process is ahead. He has several High Templar. He has the Psy Storms out. He has this 3rd base location now finally secured. He's killed a lot of drones. And for herO right now, he's going to need to take this time to kind of reset and build up for what he's going to come next. He has the Spire completed, and he's going to look for some Mutatech to harass. Is tech switching, essentially, is the word I was looking for there.
Well, here we go back in again, another storm. Where is it? Going to be able to just settle for, I think, 3 drone kills right there. A second High Templar waiting for the drones to return. Another gigantic storm takes out a lot of units, and this is just possibly way too much damage from Free.
Yeah, I mean, he did get a Scourge out with that Spire. Perhaps that's all he really wants to Spire for, because it's super late to have Mutas in this game, but committing all the way to Aspire just for the Scourge to finally shut this drop down. but it just feels too little too late. This army will be smashed by the Protoss. Okay, he is going to switch to Mutas.
Okay.
So that's what I thought, but he didn't show them until just now. If he can outmaneuver this Protoss army and avoid storms, this can do a ton of damage because Free doesn't know it's coming.
Yeah, and while we do have a unit counting station, we don't know exactly how many of each unit. It's entirely possible that herO, with those 5 hatcheries, has been able to reproduce enough drones even after taking substantial losses, but maybe not while also producing so many attacking units. Here comes in the big amount of mutas there. They'll target down the cannon, but storms will force them back.
Yeah, but with good micro gear from herO, he's going to wipe this mineral line away and then nearly kill every single probe while doing so. 1 photon cannon, not even close to enough. As we see, it looks like this is going to force Free to go for a counterattack to try to end the game and perhaps force these mutas to come home while he spawns a few High Templar. A lot of cannons here at his satellite base. Good storms on this Zerg army as well.
Might have another one, yeah, but this one much better control by herO. Able to avoid those storms, but Free with a huge army pressing in.
Okay, the mutas, can't really kill every mineral line with that buildup of cannons. We're going to see a bunch of Hydras.
Wolf? I don't know.
A bunch of Hydras coming over, meanwhile, to get into that base to harass this.
I mean, those mutas have done a lot of damage, all but shutting down completely one of Free's bases. So back home, things are not looking quite so good. But for herO, the question is, can he hold? We might not even have to. It looks like Free is turning around.
He is going to turn around. That's because he's spammed out these sunken colonies. This is very similar to how you use late-game Mutalisks in StarCraft 2, for example, where you have the mutas, countered by mass cannons as much as you can, but the Protoss that attacks has to deal with your sunken colonies or your spines in StarCraft 2. Very similar situation here, but it looks like both players will kind of stabilize. The mutas have protected herO. Free lost a lot of probes and an entire mining base, but he didn't die, and he kept his entire army alive. So this is still a situation here for herO where he still has to deal with this incredibly strong, powerful, nearly maxed out Protoss army.
Yeah, now Free has put a bunch of Hydras over on the right-hand side of the map. I'm guessing he might be there to either catch out anything that's over there, maybe scouting for
these mutas flying over this army!
Might be morphing lurkers over there, so we'll get a chance to see eventually. Could be also for flanking purposes, but those are going to come in important here in just a minute. Now, keep in mind, herO, for the most part, totally, not for the most part. No, he's actually just been kept on 3 bases for now. So Zerg will need to expand here pretty soon, but we'll see if he actually has enough of an opportunity to. 4th base being thrown down there by herO. See if he can get it up.
Okay, this is a good angle here, actually, that herO is going to find before this photon cannon's ready. There is 1 High Templar here, but he either doesn't have enough energy, he doesn't realize it's there, he's not using it, so several probes killed. There's a ton of Protoss out in the middle of the map, but he still has to keep the core, part of the core of his army at home to defend.
Right, and that's
so he can't really swing the hammer to finish off any of these bases with all the static defense that's been made. He's going to look to attack the left side, but he's being really indecisive. These mutas keep coming back, keep threatening him.
Yeah, and that is going to indicate that, okay, I was trying to keep an eye on what the upgrades are. No air upgrades for these mutas, so isn't really committed. But even if the mutas don't get a ton of damage done there, their one big purpose is to keep the Protoss back, keep them from pushing out onto the map. And now Free finally making another big gesture, knowing that herO is going to be trying to get this 4th base up, looks to be trying to shut it down.
Ooh, nice grab there on that High Templar before it fired a storm. Another one is at the ready. But look, this is going to be a shutdown 4th base. The hammer is swinging, and it's at the apex right now. This base will have to be canceled. It is immediately. This is a +2 Protoss army with several High Templar, charged StarCraft 2 brain, leg-enhanced Zealots, should we say. Those Zealots are doping, okay, and they are ready to run in.
Yeah.
This is a ton of army units coming in now, and he's going to have to look for a flank here. He does have to switch back to Lurkers.
Yeah, so there are going to be lurkers here. There's going to be a ton of spines and storm already going off to take out, actually, no lurkers, but most of the lings. They're running straight into that Archon. Not a good place to go. I think he storms where the lurker was, but it did actually die earlier. It's going to take a little bit more to kill off all of these lurkers, but already quite a few going down.
Okay, we're going to see a counterattack from herO going down to the map where he's going to set up the flank. Ooh, nice storm here. Obviously, he didn't kill the mutas, but normally it's tough to get a storm off like that against such good control.
Quite a bit of damage done to those Mutalisks. They are very, very squishy. So for the most part, they're kind of off the map right now. Mutas take a very long time to heal, but he's going to keep using them, trying to take out these High Templar. They're trying to morph into an Archon there. I think in the last second, the storm going off there does take out quite a few.
Okay, look, I mean, this Protoss army has moved back, so he survives for the time being, but it's 3 base against 3 base. The Mutas, pushed away. They're super low. If he finds finds that Hydra army and kills it, that's going to be perhaps the chance he needs to go and finish off herO.
Well, this is so cool. I've actually never seen observers follow an individual unit scouting.
I think it's new in the new patch.
Yeah, so this is actually a really cool view here. He's trying to dive in there and take out those High Templar, but good defense there by Rain, actually not by Rain, sorry, still stuck in game 1. By Free, getting so many good storms on these Mutalisks.
Yeah, the Mutalisks are basically irrelevant now. Look at the movement of the Protoss army. He's just looking for any bases that are being taken. If he finds one, he wants to shut it down. If there isn't one, he's happy. This is the counterattack he didn't realize was coming, but there's still 5 photon cannons here. He's even going to disagree with the choice to come in, so he's retreating. But look at the minimap. He's going to try to cut him off here. Look at this positioning. He was considering it at least as he moves back, looking to attack another 4th base.
Now both players trying to get their 4th bases up. This has become kind of an economical game. In order to continue playing StarCraft, you need to be able to mine minerals. Otherwise, your units just kind of die against an opponent who's able to replenish. So both players, like I said, trying to get these 4th bases up. Free and herO have both shut down their opponent's force before. See if they can do it again.
Oh, he's really, with all the hatcheries he's built, he's really kind of massed up a large Ling force here. And we're going to see some Guardian harass here, which is super rare, by the way. Well, but he's going to have this, you know, a few of these Mutas turn into Guardians. He's going to harass the mineral lines. He's going to force a response here for Free. But once again, he can't hold on to this base. It's going to have to be canceled. We're going to see a big drop attempt. There's several Scourges. Does Free realize he'll get the majority of these Zealots out?
We're going to be Korean casters and yell the last Scourge that takes it out.
Okay, well, look, the Zealots still get in here. This is a big problem. He's going to force a lot of these Lings back, and this could open up an opportunity to attack the edge here. He's taking this base at the same time. Good. Decent storm.
Yeah, but there's still going to be Zerglings left over. One Guardian's not that big a deal, but all those Zealots will be able to shut down herO's fourth.
Yeah, the Guardian only hitting a Robo facility right now. This base will continue to stay up. He cannot actually deny it, as we see Dark Swarms used here to eventually zone this location out. So herO will take back control of that portion of the map, but he still doesn't have a 4th base. Not even close.
Those are the 2 little Guardians that could. They've got an uphill battle ahead of them, guys. Lots of Zerglings back at home, and this, I think, could be just an attempt at catching Free off guard if he doesn't expect this. Now,
here come the Storms to push these back. He probably is either making a Corsair or a Scout right now to clean them as well.
Yeah, look at what herO is doing right now. He's sending his Zerglings all the way around into a flanking position here, trying to catch Free's army off guard. And I think he might actually just be going for it any time now. Zerglings are in position. They are very hard to control in StarCraft because of your limited hotkey groups, but we'll see how good herO's control is. I think he's actually just going to run in and try to bust the front.
Yeah, that's going to be the plan here. This is not going to work initially with this amount of Lings, but he might go for a massive drop. He's going to look for something creative because just attacking the front is simply not going to work. Yep, the Protoss army should be at +3 now. And, okay, here's the drop I was talking about. He's going to do the massive Ling drop. They should have the Adrenal Glands upgrade, so he's going to hit this base. And if Free moves out at the worst possible moment, this could be devastating. There's the Scout. So he makes the Scout here to clear this up, and we're going to see the drop commence fairly soon. I mean, I know you laugh, but this is like pretty reasonable because all things considered. He had to deal with the Guardian. He's pushing Overlords back now. All
right, well, the one herO, the Scout there, moving out, taking out Scourge, taking out Overlord. Is that Scout the real herO? Well, no, he's in the base playing this race, but a little bit of a plague there coming off. Miss on that storm. There's the good storm, stopping these Zerglings from coming in again.
There's just so many photon cannons here that even with the drop, I don't know if this is really going to be a reasonable attack, as this is the funniest thing we've ever seen
on Earth.
So, I mean, that Scout is obviously uncontested right now, but the base is finally going to get up here for herO. He has a decent bank, which I never thought I'd say on a Brood War cast, and I actually look at it. He has a decent bank to work with.
Shuttle coming in, needs to avoid the Scourge. Only one will hit. Where's the second one? It does take out the Shuttle again.
The Scout will finally be pushed back in a moment here. One more Scourge will do the trick, but the issue again is that he doesn't have an answer for this large Protoss army. So
how many kills? 6 kills on the Scout. Finally, more Scourge than are necessary. We'll take it out there. Wow. All right, the little Scout that could, and it did. So Finally, our lone scout is done, and now it comes back to units we're used to seeing, trying to push out there, but I don't know. It looks like with that Dark Swarm, herO might be able to push this army back, but there are plenty of Zealots underneath.
I don't think he's even going to have a chance to. This army is way too large to deal with. He has no quality units here. He has a few Dark Swarms. He's going to try to massively surround and kill us with Lings and Lurkers. This Protoss army is super quality. He's just going to avoid these Dark Swarms. Look at this, catching all these Lurkers, basically killing them for free here. Going to kill all of these Zerglings. I'm not even making a pun on his name. Now he's going to look for this defensive storms here. He needs to back out of these Dark Swarms. Does get a nice one here again on these Dragoons, but the storms are still here.
There are plenty left there. The Scourge coming in, trying to snipe the Observer, and they do. So very little detection here, but plenty of storms left over. Here come the Cracklings coming up from behind, trying to take out Free's forces. There aren't enough Zealots left over, but the Archons are killing so many Zerglings.
Yeah, the Archon here are going to start clearing this back up. Now this is an opportunity. Well, this Protoss army is so committed over here to perhaps hit the other base of Free. He needs to make these Templar into an Archon. They're not going to escape here. This base is somewhat vulnerable right now while all the Protoss army was caught up there and also, by the way, killed.
Yeah, so we didn't get a chance to see that last storm, but it killed every drone at that expansion. So fourth really shut down here for herO. While Free's fourth base has been up and mining for the most part, and I think you'll be able to see that as far as like the mining. If you check out the mineral tab, you can actually see that while herO might have a big bank, when it comes to mining more, Free is going to have the advantage.
Well, he has a massive remax in Zealots here because obviously he's dealing with almost purely Zerglings right now. Can run through the Dark Swarms. Lurkers are coming up here, but he just needs to maintain detection. He has all that mineral bank you were talking about from the 9 o'clock expansion. That's where all these Zealots come from. That's why he has this massive supply lead. He's got so many gateways, and he's just been hitting herO over and over and over again. And eventually herO just runs out of money. He cannot continue to produce units when he's down bases this long.
Drones going. They're taking a very long trip over there. Yeah, so re-rallying those drones. A big play. That was my best impression.
Okay, look at the storm though. The storm is super important here. He actually clears the rest of this army. Gonna kill that Defiler. So many of these Zealots are low though because of the plague you just mentioned. And this is very scrappy what we're seeing here from herO, but maybe he can actually make this work. And a big Doom drop over here on top of this base while the Protoss army is away. That's what I was talking about earlier. He finally makes it work here. Zealots coming back. They are plagued. This will be defended eventually. But this is the best damage we've seen herO really get all game long.
Yeah, incredible storms from Free to save that base and just barely keep it alive.
Look at the money though. He's trying to find long distance mining with these drones perhaps here.
No. It's a bad rally point. He keeps trying to turn them back around, but he hasn't been able to save them. Yeah, they just keep
He wants to send them to the top right here, but yeah, he's definitely not. He's misrallied them because the temple is still up. The Protoss temple's there.
Yeah, so that's what, 15 drones that just aren't doing anything? What's going on? Oh my God.
Well, you keep seeing him go over there and click on it. The more significant thing though is that he's running out of units here. Again, he has poor mining. You know, he doesn't have the answer for this Protoss army. He's trying to avoid it right now in the middle of the map. But the Protoss is going to move into this base, forcing his army back. Could try to counterattack once more, but those cannons can be rebuilt. Okay, see, he's just trying to buy time. He's trying to buy time. Every time Free moves out, he's trying to catch him here. But this army is getting smaller and smaller, and I feel like the chances of victory here for herO do with them grow smaller.
Now, herO has reestablished his fourth base. It is up and mining. He's finally dealt with those drones by sending them all the way across the map. So they will be put to use. herO trying to get now a fifth base up, and I feel like that will be sort of the nail in the coffin. If that base goes down, herO's chances of winning go down with it.
I think that it may just go down immediately here as this army is kind of hiding back towards it. We're going to see a small Ling force sent across the map. But yeah, the base is canceled. The Lings get caught here. And all we're seeing from herO over and over again is trying to snipe these expensive Templar, trying to get value out of these cheap Zerglings because he's so down in supply, he's so down in economy. But this isn't going to last much longer. Yes, fourth base is up and mining, but the Protoss army is still going strong, and eventually Free's going to have enough units to where he's not going to be turned around by a small group of 3 Hydras and 8 Zerglings. He's going to start hitting this base hard.
Right, and as all good followers of the Church of Todd are wont to do, and for the first time in Brood War, we can look at the supply and see that in fact there is a pretty big discrepancy. Free really just macroing up. Now he will be the player going for a 5th base as well, and I think it's a little bit more likely that that will work out.
I mean, there's a large amount of mobility in herO's army with the massive amount of cracklings he's created. If he could find this and shut it down when the Protoss is attacking, that would be great, but feels like a pipe dream considering how small his army is and how little vision he can have on the map right now. Look at the minimap. It tells a bigger story than the supply ever can here. If those Zerglings engage these Zealots, they're going to regret it. Storm comes down as well. He just can't find any angle in this game. The Defiler actually going to look for a Plague. That's how desperate he is right now. And I mean, if he could make all these Zealots essentially at 1 hit point, perhaps he takes a fight with cheap units. But look at this. It just looks so unlikely. The Defiler actually going to go down here, which is more significant than the Plague hitting, as that's very expensive.
Plagued Archons, man. Instead of 10 hit points, they have 9, or like one hit point.
Yeah. They still got their shields.
9 less HP. Biggest golf clap for
that. They die super fast when those shields are done, though.
Yeah, the biggest thing about that, hitting a lot of those Zealots, weakening them, making sure that they are a little bit less effective. But the real key for this game is going to be about the economy. 5th base coming up now for free. herO trying to take a different 5th base, but I believe that's a mineral only, so I don't know if that will be quite as effective.
Even with the Zealots plagued, mind you, Rapid, I mean, they have shields regenerated. The Zealot count is so high that he just will mow through any Zerglings he encounters. Look, another Plague, but it's just so insignificant in the grand scheme of things. I almost feel like Free doesn't realize how ahead he is. It's so difficult to end this game because Brood War is a game where attacking into that choke point with the Lurkers, the sunken colonies is so difficult. We're going to see a Storm drop here, though.
Drop coming in all over the drones.
Here's one way to attack this base without running through the choke point. Just fly over it and drop storms. Shuttle was a cloud that ruined the day of herO.
Yeah, there's no silver lining to that. You actually just lost a bunch of drones. Wow, and yeah, at this point, you can see with that shuttle giving a lot of information to Free. He's not going to drop High Templars, but these Zealots will be able to shut down this Nidus canal.
Yeah, if he had the Nidus, perhaps he pops a few units out for the defense. Not going to happen. That's going to be a lost base. They're going to catch these units in the middle map. I think we're going to see a type out here for herO.
Scourge will be able to take out the shuttle, but it's a little bit too little too late at this point. A massive Protoss force, almost 100 supply up, pushing out across the map.
He's out of options. He's out of money, and his only base he's trying to get is spotted and is under attack. He has no means to defend it. And yes, some of these units of Free are plagued and low on hit points, but the shields will regen. The quality of army that I've been talking about this entire game is higher for Free, and all he needs to do is eventually finish the game, which will be difficult. There's going to be one last fight here. This is where hero's going to try to make his stand against these plagued units and hope for an insanely cost-efficient exchange, but it just feels unlikely at this point, Rapid, that this will ever work.
Yeah, plenty of Storms, Archons in the front, Zealots right behind them, and Storms aplenty, able to take out most of these Lurkers. It just seems like herO knows that he is up against a fight that probably will not be able to win. There's another Plague that comes off.
When you look at the army of herO, you could hardly call it an army. I mean, it's this tiny ragtag group of units. It's making a few more Lurkers here. Feels like a rag grab when he just grabs them all and sends them across the map.
And he grabs a rag and then throws it at him, and he's like, well, this is just a rag. It's not an attacking unit. Takes them out anyway. I don't know. I mean, he does have a 4th base, but this is a Zerg that's on a 1-base economy for the most part, whereas Free has a 2 bases up, mining, and a huge army to back it up.
With good upgrades and tons and tons and tons of Psystorm. That's the big key here. That's the quality of army I keep referencing. We'll call it a tech advantage, whatever you want to call it. For herO to win this fight is going to take a miracle. He has a large group of Lurkers. He's hoping to get this amazing Dark Swarm. He's hoping to get these amazing Lurker spines to get the AoE, especially on those plagued units. But this is going to be, I think, the last fight of the game. Here we go. Observers aplenty here. He actually unburrows several of his Lurkers to avoid the storms and splits them. But now they're not doing damage, and they have to reburrow. Even if he splits here, it doesn't look like this is going to work. Dark Swarm going down here, but look at this Protoss army. It's just way too big.
Yeah, and even though there are, Lurkers underneath, the Zealot's able to clean them up almost completely. Free did lose quite a bit of his army there, but he should have another macro cycle out of all of his gateways coming soon.
If you could see it just trickling across the map on the mini-map, and he's going to hit this base. You see another Plague go down. Cannons, though, full health still. And he's going to find himself caught between a rock and a hard place now with the last part of this pitiful army. As it will be crushed here. Photon Cannons finishing everything off. This should be the type out. Can't imagine he's going to give it another go after this one. Yeah. Storm's going down on the Dark Swarm there. And this is going to be it
Free with a great defense of his 5th base, does keep it alive, and with that, his hopes of completely shutting herO down. herO, unable to get up another base, has barely won mining, is trying to produce whatever few Zerglings he can, but it's just not going to be enough.
That's all he has. There are almost more High Templar left than Zerglings on the map right now, as it starts to feel pretty disappointing for herO, as I guess he's trying to think of what he could have done better, maybe trying to regain his thoughts. Even he must realize at this point that there is no chance for coming back in this game, even with Perfect Plagues and Dark Swarms. Blue Door has quote-unquote comeback mechanics, and we've all heard Tastes talk about 12 units in a control group, but this is not going to be what brings herO back into this game. He's going to suffer a slow and painful death here. He suffers, as I said there, as I misspoke.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what to expect from herO at this point. Like you said, trying to get done as much as he can.
I mean, look at this. He's playing like a mini game with the Lurker over here to try to find the damage, to try to fight back here.
I mean, really just
look at these storms.
Being as annoying as possible with all of these Zerglings, but the money will just run out eventually. I mean, this is like, people who take vacations off from work to go travel the world. Well, if you don't have a job, your money will eventually just run out.
Credit cards company is going to call you.
Yeah, they're going to shut down those cards eventually. You're going to have to find a way to make some money, and right now herO just doesn't have any of that. He's got one base,
There's the
barely mining.
GG. herO. He fought long and hard to come back in that game, but it will be Free who defeats him in the end. The big commitment to the Hydralisk attack, the also heavy gas commitment to Mutalisk did give Free some trouble, especially the Mutalisk attack where he didn't have enough answers to that, but he eventually spread out his High Templar, had good storms, and then had the better tech, which allowed him to control the map and consistently shut down that 4th base over and over and over again. And by the time he was able to finally get the 4th base, Free had the 5th base. And that was basically the long and short of the story there. He tried to use Lurkers, Lings, and Hydras in scrappy amounts to catch the Protoss, to snipe High Templar, using Plague to weaken the hit points of those units, but he never was able to take the miracle fight he was looking for to turn the game around.
And inevitably, this does tell us a big thing about Free. We were kind of criticizing some of his decision-making, looked really kind of underprepared in ASL. In SSL, he got a little bit too greedy, but this finally was Free's game. Able to take and defend that 4th base to really get an economic advantage that he really never let go of. And for herO, there looked like moments where he was able to catch out portions of Free's army, but was never able to shut it completely down.
Yeah. Well, there's one more map on Medusa.
Yeah.
We have to go, as we're going into a TVZ. We're going to have every matchup today, a TVP, the ZVP, and then the TVZ.
Yeah. We get a diverse group of matchups, but we're playing on the same map every game tonight. So it's a little bit of a new day, still getting used to our new observers, but we'll get a chance to check that out in our final game of the night. We'll have that coming up for you guys in just a little bit. So we're going to take a little bit of a longer break, and we'll see you back soon.
Just to let the world know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless.